Welcome everybody to another episode of Person Behind the Persona, and today we had with us Vinamre Kasana. We talked about a lot. We talked about हम लोग की school में क्या था. What else did we talk about?
The main thing, stories.
Yeah,
How
we
stories
talked
work.
about,
What is the arc of a story?
yeah, and it was a blast. It was one of
Yeah,
my
no, I had
favorite
a blast.
podcasts.
I
till
always
now.
have a blast on PVDP. I don't know if it's the slight wine that I drink. It's the second time I've been on, but it's just a fun vibe. I would like more podcast hosts to be a good mix between intellectual and bakchodi, because that is where the future of the Indian podcasting scene lies.
ओके हाँ, तो अभी ये वाला सेक्शन में बाद में ऐड करेगा. अभी मेरा पहला जहाँ से हम लोगों ने लेफ्ट ऑन किया था वो ऐड कर दूंगा. ठीक है. Where was we? Arcade games, right? I have a great story about fucking what is that? Air hockey, right? So this is the first time I have asked a girl out. ठीक है. And this girl, she and I, we meet in a mall and we go get Subway because औकात. ठीक है. And
Also because healthy food.
bro, this is a misconception that Subway has a healthy food. वो बीच में ऐसा सलाद डालते और उसके ऊपर जो मिंट रेड सॉस
पाव भाजी खा रहा हूँ ज्यादा हेल्दी है सबवे से.
है ना भाई. इतनी चीज, इतना सॉस अंतड़ियां एकदम खराब कर दे. तो उसके बाद हम लोग फिर she goes that because I paid उसका खाने का, because मैं डैड का क्रेडिट कार्ड चुरा के गया था. Let's go.
डैडी मेरे को अपना क्रेडिट कार्ड दे दो, मुझे कोकेन करनी है और बंदियों के साथ करना है.
क्रेडिट कार्ड से सबवे खरीदा. नाइस यार. ये तो दिस इज द फर्स्ट टाइम मैंने
उस टाइम मैंने कुछ 1000 रुपए का खर्चा किया था, and that was the highest I've ever spent on food.
Yeah.
So so she's like, all right, I'll take you somewhere. So she takes me to this thing called Smash. Smash is basically like जहाँ पे bowling, arcade वगैरह.
It's a basic game arcade. They also have outlets here in Delhi and Gurgaon.
Yeah, the company closed down though because of COVID. So she takes me to Smash and there is this air hockey जो, क्योंकि वो Smash बहुत नया था तो मतलब fresh ऐसा चमकीला था. ठीक है. नहीं तो हमारे यहाँ पे क्या कहते हैं वो, कौन सा इनऑर्बिट में चले जाओ वहां पे तो
गेम्स है ना
ब्रो. उसमें ना 4 लोग खेल सकते हैं, पर वो चारों में से 2 ही चल रहे हैं क्योंकि 2 वाला टूट चुका है. तो उन्होंने वहां पे क्या कहते हैं टिश्यू लगा दिए हैं, क्योंकि अगर उसमें होल के अंदर चली जाती है तो वो वापस नहीं आता है. ऐसा सीन. तो नया मिंटेड उस पे मैं आफ्टर अ वेरी लॉन्ग टाइम वी स्टार्ट प्लेइंग एयर हॉकी एंड दिस गर्ल, वो मेरी इतनी भयंकर रूप से मुझे धूल चटाई है. फॉर द फर्स्ट टाइम इन फॉरएवर आई हैव लॉस्ट 12-0. और भाई I am just like you said, man. पूरी जान लगा खेल रहा हूँ, and all she's doing is this.
Yeah, bro. It's a classic rule in jiu-jitsu, you know, use your opponent's strength against you. ये इतने साल की ट्रेनिंग, Call of Duty, ये वो मैं फाड़ूंगा जाके. And bro, it's like average player just walks into it, defeats you.
Yeah, it was like, and she was, no, that's the thing, right? She was not average. And so उसके बाद I'm like, अब ये तो ईगो पे लग गई है, and अब बेटे कुछ भी कर लो, you need to come on the top. This can't be happening, right? So finally after like, so she goes like, अच्छा तुम्हें अभी ये डांस वाले पे करना है, and background check, I'm very good at
dance
dancing.
revolution.
Yes. So yeah. So she goes like, yes, and she didn't know that I was a good dancer. So I'm like, yeah, sure. I'm like, finally redemption. And मैं जाता हूँ and मैं जीतता हूँ 1 million to 200,000. I was like, thank God. So if somebody asks how my date with Saloni went, this is how it went.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. So
this was your date with Saloni, huh? Okay.
Yeah, that's yeah. I think I wanted to keep it a little secret, and then I signed my revelation because wow, that's Saloni, that's so cool.
Bro, this reminds me of like girls beating your ass. Remember those girls who could shot put?
Oh yeah, in school, fucking.
I remember being a lanky kid and feeling the horrors of these very stocky women coming and beating the fuck out of all the guys in shot put.
The lanky guys.
Yeah. There was this chick, not gonna give her last name out. Her first name was Ferry. And not Fariy, Ferry.
RRY.
Like a ship.
Yeah, right.
Literally every single person in the comment section has
like a
thought
ship.
the same thing. जो हम सब ने सोची है.
Oh God.
Anyway. So, I mean, she was huge, bro. Like, she could just fucking throw shit. And she did. then I kept on meeting, in fact, I have this book right here. She would be very, very great in this book. It's called Jaduwalas, Jugglers and Jinns.
Oh wow.
She'd be great at circus because she could throw like a monster.
Hmm.
Then there are of course other girls. So मैं ये इतना short put में जाके ना is when you truly feel like you need to do something else. You need to maybe like go do swimming या volleyball का champion बनो या कुछ और करो, because short put is all for the stocky girls. They can throw
man.
like a motherfucker.
Yeah, I remember I got in a fight with this stocky girl and उसने मुझे पकड़ा and उसने मुझे कॉलर से नहीं पकड़ा, उसने मेरे बाहों से पकड़ा यहाँ से and she lifted me up. Okay, she lifted me up and you know how वो क्या कहते हैं पतली सी प्लाई रहती है, तुम उसको बीच से पकड़ के ऐसे ऐसे करके हिला देते हो, तो ऐसे आगे का ऐसे ऐसे होता है, you make an S. I was making an S with my body and she at बाद में she threw me, right? And she threw me and उसके बाद everybody started looking at me and I had to do something, right? मेरा पूरा ईगो का भूसड़ा हो चुका है, so I screamed mother chok जोर से and she came and she slapped the shit out of me. उस दिन के बाद से I realized कि कभी भी कोई भी लड़की के साथ झगड़ा नहीं करना है.
मैं इसी में दो कहानियां और सुनानी चाहता हूँ, क्योंकि इतनी बढ़िया लहर चल रही है. नंबर 1, एक बार ना पता नहीं कुछ शर्त लगी या क्या हुआ. It's a very stupid thing, and as a kid, I regret doing it, but the story is so hilarious. Like some friend is like, yo, ये जो लड़की है हमारी दोस्ती है, ठीक है, ये फालतू बोल रही है, तू उसमें थप्पड़ मार. मैं हूँ 7th क्लास का. मैंने कहा तू पागल है क्या, मैं थप्पड़ थोड़ी मारूंगा. मैंने कहा सुन, इससे पहले कि मैं उसे थप्पड़ मारता हूँ, वो मेरे को तेज थप्पड़ मारती है, उसको पता लग जाता है कि क्या प्रोस्पेक्ट है. ब्रो पूरी क्लास ऐसे कर रही होती है. द फक. एक्चुअली मैं स्टोरी कंफ्यूज कर रहा हूँ. हाँ, कुछ बात होती है, मैं बोलता हूँ तू चुप कर यार, तू पागल है, ऐसा कुछ है. And that bitch slaps me. I'm like, the fuck? So bro, I slap her back. Because how can she slap? You be, let's go.
How can she slap?
Bro, how can she slap? You know what I mean? How can she slap? मैं जैसे ही वो करता हूँ, she stands up, walks straight to the teacher. She's like, he slapped me. And the teacher comes in. Remember, this is 2012 or 2013 or 11. I don't remember exactly. 2011 or 2010. She's like, Vinamre, how dare you slap girls? I'm like, ma'am, she slapped me first. I was merely, discussing the prospect of potentially slapping her. She already slapped me. Slap in retaliation. She's like, नहीं, बहुत तुमने गलत करा है, डायरी में नोट वगैरह लिखो. And I was horrified, bro. That's when I realized रिवर्स सेक्सिज्म क्या होता है. नंबर 1. मेरे को बहुत बुरा लगा. मेरे को उस दिन इतना बुरा लगा, मेरे दिल में ऐसी मतलब भारी दर्द सा हो गया यार, कि मतलब दुनिया अच्छी नहीं है.
Why am I anti-patriarchy?
उसने मेरे को थप्पड़ मारा, मैंने वापस थप्पड़ मारा, तो ये हो गया बराबरी हो गई. उसने कहा नहीं, how can she slap? How can he slap? Anyway, दूसरी स्टोरी मैं भूल गया इस फील्ड
उसको वो स्लैप याद आ गया.
Oh yeah. Okay. Fuck the original topic that we talked about. This is great. Let's just go with this. I'll tell you, this is the first time. So I जैसे मैंने बताया ना, मैं बहुत पतला था. मैं कतई I was so, like I actually was so skinny that the doctor.
By the way, I
said,
remember my second story तेरी वाली का बताऊंगा. हाँ.
Yeah. The doctor said that if you don't gain weight, there will be serious health repercussions. Like you could see my ribs up here, like there was no fat, right? No titties, absolutely none. So what was happening? Yeah, so this is the first time after a very long time I get in a fight, and I get in a fight with the same guy जिसके साथ मैंने YouTube शुरू किया था. ठीक है, the art वाला. He was a fat guy. ठीक है. Shrijit, his name is Shrijit.
So this is the only time you actually look like you're from Africa, huh? Before that, never.
Yeah.
Because you always associate yourself to.
You took your time with that joke, dog.
Yeah,
like you should have cracked it very early.
You were waiting for that joke to be cracked, huh?
Yeah, बहुत समय हो गया तेरा. It was very obvious. It was right there. So I don't remember what the fight किसके लिए पर हो रही थी लड़ाई, ठीक है? And वो मेरे ऊपर बैठ रहा है, मेरे को फन मार रहा है, and I think this was between 2 periods. The periods के बीच में एक break था. उसके टाइम पे हमारी लड़ाई, और वो मेरे पे बैठ गया, मेरे को मार रहा है, and somehow when he's on top of me, I go from the under, I come around his back, and मैं उसका choke करके, and I'm dragging this motherfucker from like वो जो 2 seats रहती है ना, उसके बीच के layer से पीछ करके उसको मैं खींच रहा हूँ. And during that time, वहीं पे सिर्फ for the first time in forever I am winning a fight. तभी टीचर आ जाती है. and she sees me, and वो हमारी मैथ्स की टीचर थी, और वो मैथ्स की साउथ इंडियन टीचर, and I don't know what's up with South Indian women. What the fuck do you guys lift? She had forearms like the size of my thighs, man. वो ब्लाउज पहन के आती थी, उसका ब्लाउज बनता है, उसको टाइट होता था, like उसका मसल यहाँ से सब बाहर निकलता था. No, she was not fat. That's the thing. She had a face of a pig. Okay, I'm not even. She had like the biggest upturned nose ever I seen. Like Rishu ain't shit in front of her, right? And वो हम लोग को देनी थी
Average Papa Ocus body shamer.
Average Papa Ocus body shamer, and मैं तो सबसे ज्यादा सुंदर हूँ on Instagram. ये दो चीजें.
ना. Recently I've gotten pretty insecure as well. But listen, so हम लोग को टप्पू देने की. And what is टप्पू? टप्पू is ये अंगूठा आपके मिडिल फिंगर के नीचे जाएगा, ये आपका बन गया खौटा, ठीक है? और खौटे के बाद आपके बाल पकड़ेगी वो, और आपके इधर सेंटर पे ये ऐसा काट करके बीच की उंगली इधर पड़ेगी.
होती है, बहुत पेनफुल होती है.
ओ, जो झन्ना गया मेरा सर, एंड मैं बहुत मार खाया. लेकिन उसके बाद आई डोंट नो मेरे अंदर से कौन सा सेंस ऑफ जस्टिस जाग गया. आई गॉट अप, आई वॉकड स्ट्रेट आउट ऑफ द क्लास, ठीक है ना? लाइक ये करोगे? मैंने कुछ नहीं किया मैम. टीचर को उल्टा जवाब दोगे? यस मैम. Get out of the class. Okay ma'am. I throw my fucking book
while being rebellious.
I throw my book. I walk straight out of the class and everybody's like, कहाँ जाएगा? मैं क्लास के बाहर नहीं खड़ा रहता, मैं जाता हूँ सीधा प्रिंसिपल के ऑफिस, ठीक है? और मैं प्रिंसिपल के ऑफिस के बाहर एक पेपर लेता हूँ, और मैं घटिया ग्रामर, मेरी सड़ी इंग्लिश, मैं 9 तक एवरीबॉडी मैं बोलता था लाइट इज द गॉन, ठीक है? लाइट इज गॉन नहीं, लाइट इज द गॉन. एंड उसमें मुझे याद नहीं मैंने क्या लिखा, बट आई रोट समथिंग बहुत बकवास है. एंड टुवर्ड्स द एंड, यूनिफॉर्म इज अ साइन ऑफ इक्वालिटी, बट आई एम नॉट फेसिंग इक्वालिटी हियर. एंड मैं रोते रोते एंड में मैम को देता हूँ, एंड मैं वापस आता हूँ, and next day the teacher has been suspended. Your boy won, let's go. What? But yeah.
But did you get beaten up in school by teachers or whatever?
वो उसकी स्टोरी बाकी है, पहले वो सुनाने.
हाँ, वो स्टोरी तो ये है कि मैं वृंदावन गया था, मेरे से एक लंबी लड़की, हमारी फैमिली फ्रेंड, मैं दर्शन देख नहीं पा रहा था, उसने मेरे को ऐसे उठा दिया था, हम सेम उम्र के थे, बहुत बेइज्जती फील हुई थी. नंबर 1. ठीक है, नंबर 2 ये है कि as far as beaten up is concerned, so actually I started a fight club in school.
Oh wow.
In 8th grade मैंने क्या करा, जैसे कि ये है ना पेज का जिसके अंदर मेरे टीम और मेरे आइडियाज लिखे हुए हैं, हमें क्या करना है आज, ऐसे मैंने पेज पे ना एक 16 लड़कों का रोस्टर बनाया. मेरी क्लास में 42 बच्चे थे, तो ज्यादातर लड़कियां थी, 16-17 लड़के थे रफली. 8वीं क्लास की बात है. मैंने रोस्टर बनाया, अपने आप से आर्बिट्री रैंकिंग दी स्ट्रेंथ के हिसाब से कि कौन नंबर 1 है, नंबर 2, नंबर 3 है. मैंने ये घोषित करा कि हर थर्सडे को हम लोग करेंगे फाइट. सेकंड ब्रेक के अंदर 2 ब्रेक होते थे, एक 15 मिनट का, दूसरा भी 15 मिनट का. उसके अंदर हमें करनी है फाइट, और जो बंदा जीतेगा दूसरे बंदे से, वो टाइटल में ऊपर मूव करेगा, दूसरा बंदा नीचे जाएगा. तो इमेजिन करो 15 और 16 बंदे की फाइट कैसी होगी. जो सबसे ज्यादा लूजर्स हैं, उन्हें पता है दे आर कंपीटिंग फॉर लाइक द सेकंड लास्ट एंड द लास्ट स्पॉट.
राइट
ब्रो, इट्स लाइक
राइट
ऐसी वाली लड़ाइयां जो होती है ना, एकदम बिल्कुल घटिया वाली, ऐसी वाली लड़ाइयां, ठीक है? देन यू गो नंबर 7 and 8. I was at number 4 or 5 I think, and someone who was at 6 was fighting me for the spot. He was a taekwondo champion. I remember कि या तो वो हाथ छोड़ने में कतरा रहा था, उसको इतने taekwondo के मूव्स आते थे, मेरा जबड़ा टूट जाता, ठीक है? मैं क्लासिक उस टाइम पे एवरेज केन WWE अंडरटेकर फैन, सीधा जाके प्रो मास्टर लॉक, और वैसे कर रहा है टैप 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 टैप. This whole charade went on for such a long time. Eventually I got enough balls to compete with number 3. Now number 3 was a fighter, and this number 5 had specs on. अभी तक सारे लोग आउट ऑफ शाइनेस या फिर sheer lack of strength मेरे से हार रहे थे. नंबर 3 था एक गुंडे का हरामी हेंचमैन होता है ना, जो मतलब बॉस मैं मैदान में अकेले लड़ लूंगा, और उसके बाद बॉस लेवल आता है, तो ये हेंचमैन लेवल था. तो उसमें हेंचमैन से जाके लड़ता हूँ, ब्रो वो सीधा ऐसा मुक्का मारता है, चश्मे उड़ के जाते हैं दूर, ठीक है? चश्मे उड़ के दूर, ठीक है? मेरे यहाँ पे ऐसे मेरे टेम्पल वो हो रहा है, मुझे समझ नहीं आ रहा मैं क्या कर रहा हूँ. ऐसे जैसे कार्टून में दिखाते हैं ना, ऐसे स्टार्स आ रहे होते हैं, वो सब आ रहे होते हैं. वो अपनी दोनों थाइज को लेता है, अपनी थाइज के साथ मेरे को MMA के जमाने से 10 साल पहले चोक कर देता है, ब्रो.
एवरेज किंग फिंगर.
ये कर रहा हूँ बैठ के. I mean that's the most vicious fight a lot. I lost. Uske beyond, तो most of them have been wins. Or if the guy was fucking too brawny, I never fought in that case. और वो वाली चीज हुई नहीं. पता नहीं. It's very weird. Fight.
You have no idea. You have no idea how much people are out there who are paying money to get thigh choked by bitches.
Bro, वो तो अलग scene है ना. In fact, in my college, there was this athletics coach who was fired because of this.
Because he wanted to get thigh choked.
नहीं, it's serious. So what he would do is, one of my friends, मेरे को उसने अपने सामने $100 और $50 का एक नोट दिखाया. He got paid because of this. So what he used to do is, he was a swim team coach at Boston University.
Right.
वो क्या करता था? He was like a weird guy. That's why he was suspended. Outside of like the swimming pool, he would go and say, लड़कों सुनो, जो बंदा अपने दोनों फिस्ट को लेके मेरा सर ऐसे स्क्वीज करेगा अंदर की तरफ और मेरे को दर्द देगा, मैं उसे $150 दूंगा. So different लड़के of different strength categories would go. कुछ लोग अपने पैरों से लॉक करते थे, कुछ लोग कुछ. और मुझे अच्छी तरह याद है, मेरा दोस्त मेरे घर आता था और बोलता रहता था कि अगर इस तरह लॉक करूंगा तो पैसे ज्यादा मिल जाएंगे, इस तरह करूंगा. And the entire time that guy would talk dirty to them. Yeah, you want to fuck me? Yeah, मेरा सर और तेज squeeze कर, जो भी English equivalent है
fucking masochistic.
Right.
क्या चल रहा है भाई?
And he would just get his head squeezed by these incredibly tough swimming guys. And my friend was like a short, like बहुत छोटा था वो height में. So for him, he wanted to be with those guys competing to make money by squeezing this guy's head who was one of BU's top swimming coaches. But it was a very weird thing. Only happened in the inner circle. But मैंने तब देखा कि भाई मतलब हिंदुस्तान में sexual fetish छुप जाते हैं क्योंकि देश बहुत बड़ा है, लेकिन अमेरिका में नहीं छुपते.
Yo, that's fucking crazy. Yo, यहाँ पे एक यूनिवर्सिटी है, ठीक है? So यहाँ पे ना, this guy was teaching. Sorry, this teacher was teaching. ठीक है? And उनको लगा कि webcam off है. ठीक है? तो पीछे से एक दूसरा सर आता है. ठीक है, and he comes and he starts grabbing her tits, starts kissing her, and एक कैमरा के सामने, bro, वो ब्लाउज पहनी है, वो खोलता है and he starts sucking on her tits. She thinks, and she's still teaching, she thinks the camera is off. Turns out they're not even husband and wife, they're married to different people. They were teaching in the this is very recent. This is like this year. When me and my friends met and they started telling me that ye hua.
This happened on Zoom.
Yes, it happened on Zoom and everybody's taking screenshot. These fucking leecher motherfuckers, they didn't tell ki ma'am aapka camera on hai. Every fucking person starts recording it, right? And this shit goes viral. And so what the woman used to do, she used to lie to her husband that she's going to the college. She used to come to this guy's place whose wife used to go to college to teach.
Wow.
Fucking crazy.
मुझे ऐसा लग रहा है सविता भाभी 2021 बन गई है, ऐसा एक इस तरह का चीप इशू है. Bro, that's crazy. That's crazy.
Fucking like मेरे दोस्त नहीं देख रहे मम्मी चूस रहे देख fucking I was like क्या चालू है बहनचोद. It was fucking crazy, man, out there. Ah, Jesus Christ. Yeah.
What a moment, huh?
Yeah, what a moment, man. I was like, ये हुआ? हाँ, अबे ये कुछ नाम भी लेती, ये हमको फिजिक्स सिखाती है, ये हमको फिजिक्स सिखाती है बैंक. I was like, fuck, man.
I think teachers are subjected to needless sexual objectification by students क्योंकि वो बड़े हो रहे होते हैं. And they see her as this, especially female teachers, they see her as this like, I hate to say it, like this person they need to overpower or overcome in order to be a champ. So and everyone does it. All teenage boys do it. Everyone likes to see like a teacher. Like, this is the object of my fancy. This is the object of my lust, right?
Like teachers definitely. हाँ वो तो बहुत common रहता है.
My mom is a teacher, so like I know the shit. Like
damn, bro, damn.
Yeah, my mom is.
So were you in the same school as your mom?
Yeah. Imagine that shit, bro. So like it was crazy. Like my mom used to tell me all the fucking shit that's going on with these guys, and I don't know. I still have not been attracted to a teacher yet. Maybe
of
because
course, bro.
Of course you haven't.
Yeah, like maybe because मेरी पूरी family में सब teachers रहे, or maybe because when I shifted to this new school, every teacher was like fucking old, fat, झुर्रियाँ वाली. like if you're into fat Jhurriya wali, I was not as a kid. I'm sorry. I mean, I'm still not as like fuck. But yeah. So yeah, it was crazy, bro. It was like they used to like, मैं तो इसको पकड़ के इसके बाल पकड़ के खींचना चाहता हूँ, मैं तो ये, मैं तो.
And she could hear it.
Yeah. Like with my mom, because my mom was strict. It wasn't that much, but there were young teachers, who were young, gory, short teachers, right? And
Damn,
like
man.
that is like the most wild combination you can have as a teacher when you're teaching like pre-pubes, like fucking puberty wale kids. It's bad. Like I remember there was this guy called उसका नाम हम लोग रखते हैं शर्म. Let's ठीक है, because it rhymes.
He's called Shame.
Yeah, he's called fucking bastard. And like, oh my man, I remember. So he had this crush on this teacher for a very long time, right? Gori, Butley, good figure teacher. Okay, young, right?
Butley, what is Butley?
Butley is short-heighted.
In Mumbai or Hindi?
Yeah, Butley.
Okay.
Hey, Butley, I say. So what happened was कि वो उसकी शादी हुई उस टीचर की. And this motherfucker used to call her every single night. मैम मैं आपको बहुत मिस करता हूँ, मैम आप शादी मत करो, मेरा क्या होगा. And he used to like show it off to us after school या like बाद में मिलने के बाद like ये देख मैंने ये बात किया. And he used to fucking like हमको सुनाने का कि बोलने का कि मैम मैं आपका क्या होगा. And ma'am being ma'am, she's like, don't worry dear, everything will be all right. But I am 100% sure you knew what he was trying to enunciate with the way he was talking, right? So I just think like, yeah, like
there is a movie by Adam Sandler called That's My Boy, which you need to watch.
Oh, I love that movie, man.
What is the movie about?
तो फिर तो ये कि बोला है टीचर पसंद नहीं है.
Oh man, I don't know, man. I just like I love Adam Sandler being the fucking.
Have you guys watched Uncut Diamonds, the one on Netflix?
No, not yet.
What is it called?
Uncut Diamonds. ये तो उसकी नई वाली. It's his latest offering where he's a diamond dealer / hustler. He has to pay a lot of debts. He has 2 affairs. बहुत तगड़ी picture है. Adam Sandler plays very Adam Sandler roles. That's the best way to describe.
Yeah.
सारी picture उसके around होती है.
Yeah.
मैंने एक बड़ी सी चीज कर दी है. अब मैं इसके अंदर हूँ. तुम सारे देखो.
Yeah. In that's my boy. He basically has sex with his teacher. But he is in love with his teacher, and they have sex.
He's a 7th grader, bro. And And he fucks his teacher, and his teacher is like, I love that as well. They get caught doing it in school. She goes to prison because it's pedophilia.
No, wait. Show her. Tell him how they get caught. Where?
Bro, my God, bro. So imagine तू सोच, तू स्कूल का लड़का है. तू ना CD पायरेट करके लाया कि मेरी डीपेस्ट फैंटेसी सच हो जाए, और तू उस फैंटेसी को रियल लाइफ में देखता है. So there is a grand piano at the school in the background on the stage with the curtains on. Principal speech दे रहा होता है कि मैं एक खड़ूस प्रिंसिपल हूँ, आज ये होने वाला है, ला. And you hear sounds of moaning, right? And you hear them again and again and again. And then suddenly curtain खुलता है. And then this 7th grader is having... I want to make it very clear, I'm not glorifying pedophilia at all for girls or guys, right? But that is the way Adam Sandler takes it in this film. For guys, for some reason, it is a victory if they do it consensually. ऐसा उसके अंदर दिखाया हुआ है, ठीक है, apparently.
Yeah.
So he's having sex with his teacher. He's in 7th grade. She's a full-blown adult. Bro, they stop. The guy's like, my dad's going to kick my ass. School के सारे बच्चे ऐसे करते हैं.
And then he does this, and they start screaming. कि oh let's go, and he gets the baby हो जाता है, baby बाहर आता है. He's a 17-year-old who becomes super famous because he fucked his teacher, and that's the story.
But yeah, it's a crazy weird Adam Sandler movie that only he could make. अगर कोई truly Sacha Baron Cohen जैसा पागल है ना, but एक थोड़े और cut हुए, not cut हुए, I mean like cut हुए. Please, I said cut हुए. I literally said cut हुए. Cut हुए American context के अंदर, that's Adam Sandler for sure.
Yeah. He's oh my God.
He pushes the limit, bro. Have you watched?
I love it though. I love it.
क्या नाम है उसका?
The one who plays Michael.
You don't mess with the Zohan.
Yes. Fucking Israel versus
Palestine.
So that's like next level.
It's a very weird film. You as kids.
Very weird film. Yeah.
क्योंकि ये Israel Palestine क्या है? As Indian kids, you know. Yeah. What the fuck is this shit? He's got dogs in the airplane. He's fighting with this other guy who has a bunch of KFC type restaurants. It doesn't make any sense.
And he does
he's
haircuts.
white.
And he does haircuts.
He's white, but he
And he
speaks in
fucks
Israeli
for charity.
Yeah, it's crazy. It's like
And
imagine like a कोई बाहर का actor speaking an Indian accent, but he's white.
Yeah, that's pretty much him.
Dude, he's a barber who he has something. What does he do for his special clients, man? He has sex with them.
He has sex with them.
He has sex with them, right?
Yeah. And especially old ladies. He likes to fuck old ladies.
It's like a charity sex service. And
he's the kid from my school who was into old fat.
Like subtlety is completely out of the window. Like that is मतलब है really. Like wait a second. Let me just get this straight. वो बाल काटता है और फिर उनको अंदर लेके जाता है and वो बाहर बहुत खुश होके आती हैं. This is what is happening. What is going on? He's having sex with them, and why is this so obvious?
Yeah, it was fucking
मैं Adam
crazy.
Sandler का बेटा या बेटी बिल्कुल नहीं होना चाहूंगा. कैसी पिक्चरें बनाते हैं यार.
Yeah, he's great. Adam Sandler was definitely my guilty pleasure for a while. Oh man, that's
crazy, bro. We meant to talk about storytelling, but I'm loving this tangent.
I prepared a whole questionnaire. मैंने खुद क्या कहते हैं किस बारे में मैं बात करूँगा.
What I can do is I can push it to 10:45. Let me take a piss break. I'll be back. ठीक है?
Yeah,
Let's do it.
Now we're gonna start the main show. हम लोग
Bro, by the
storytelling
way,
के
I
बारे
have
में
to
बात
say this is super fun. This whole tangent conversational shit.
That's what our solos are. This is what we do. We just keep on going on.
And we usually plan something else. Now that we have started doing a bit of structure, we plan something else. And every single time, like we'll start 5 minutes into the structure and somebody has already gone into a different tangent and the other person is not able to say no because we cannot communicate that in between because Brian has to edit it, right? So like, chalte rehna, and just go somewhere completely different.
What I found about podcasts is that if you never ever speak to the editor in the podcast at all, you allow for the most spontaneous conversation.
You will, yes, you will.
Okay? If you give space and time for edits, it's like saying कि यार अच्छा ठीक है मैं अपना flow break कर रहा हूँ. मैंने जब वो करना छोड़ा ना bro, like you just अब जैसे what we were talking about, right? Not plan at all. But my fun मेरे को पसंद है Indian podcast के अंदर ऐसे tangents explore करना.
Right.
Growing up, right? Weird stories, all of that. Mostly what happens is interview style बकचोदी. You know, how do you feel like? कैसा लगता है? किससे collaborate? The fuck?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It's just not as fun.
Basically our guest podcast Ocus is what I'm trying to say. हम सारे ऐसे में तो यही बात करते हैं and mostly
I don't know.
We
try to like we usually have our normal conversations with our guests, not any specific topic related to YouTube, just about them. क्या ये बताओ ताकि हम कुछ उससे relate कर पाएं. We're looking for something to relate with or something to completely not relate with and then get curious about it.
That's like how do you do it?
That's why lateral questions and lateral stories. The literal question is who are you? What is your channel? Lateral question is बचपन में कौन सा गेम खेलना पसंद था? You know that takes you to a whole like oh bro ये भी था वो भी था and then when people tell stories, you have a podcast.
Right. It's damn. I really wanted this to be like when I decided person behind the persona, this is what I wanted, you know, like really take that layer of the persona off of a creator and show all the vulnerabilities, everything.
भाई मैं तो ऐसे ही करता हूँ हमेशा.
Yeah, it's also very easy. It's also very easy that way, ना क्योंकि तुम free flow में बात कर रहे हो and you don't have to think as much.
Yeah, with you guys also, like I'm just here to talk. I've been on a couple of podcasts. Let me tell you, and not everyone is a good podcast host. Matlab people are, how do I say it? It's like many people start podcasts with very good intentions.
Right.
Yeah. But here's the thing, bro. Ocus, I know. You, I know. Right? We're friends with the internet. Right? We have a rapport.
Right.
We follow each other. Right?
Right.
I see you as colleagues in the YouTube space, right?
Right.
Okay. Now, when someone who's a starter podcaster, as I've been, as you've been, as everyone else has been, comes and approaches you, they believe that the rapport is implied.
Yeah.
Which is not.
Okay. Which is it is not. तुम मेरे से पहले मिनट में इतना ज़्यादा frank हो गए, मैं relate नहीं कर पाऊँगा because I don't know you. I don't know your history, your context, right? So take me slowly through it.
Right.
What I found when I've been a guest on a lot of podcasts is exactly that. Is the over rapport, the almost parasitic nature कि जल्दी से relate कर पाऊँ ताकि मैं उस same level पे आ जाऊँ, but it doesn't. It's not what happens. And it's always nice to be on podcasts with the people you know, people you've sort of seen, even parasocially तुमने उनका content consume करा है, you've
Right.
seen,
Correct.
as opposed to complete strangers. I don't know.
Yeah.
That's just what I feel.
Yeah, parasocial gives you this advantage of what would it be like to have a beer with this dude. So when you actually meet this dude, you start having that kind of, you know. Can you hear Ev barking?
A little bit.
That's fine. I'll be able to cut it off then. But yeah, let's talk about stories. I want you to take off, Vinamre. What would you like? Let's use that. फिर हम लोग आते हैं बाद में.
ठीक है. I see stories as transformation. As simple as that. The most basic definition is anything that promises transformation is a story. ठीक है. हम जिम में जाते हैं, बोलते हैं यार मेरे को फैट से फिट बनाओ. What is that? That is the story of my transformation from being fat to fit, right? What is the hero's journey? A novice जिसको कोई नहीं जानता to this hero that everyone respects, right? Loves, whatever. Another example लेते हैं. A novice candidate who has no shot at being the prime minister suddenly becomes the prime minister. Right. Again, these are all stories, okay? And what they have in common is transformation. Without transformation, all you have is facts and missing information. You never have a story, okay? To start off with, that's the first definition of a story. Plot, characters, sub points, these are baat ki baatein. Fundamental definition hai, it's transformation at its best. Right. That's what I feel.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, that's what you said. Transformation. I was reading this book by the book's name is Storyworthy, and he talks about change instead of transformation. He uses the word change, and he says that he addresses it as like every single story has an elephant, right? And by the end of the story, the elephant has changed the color. And he gives an example of the movie called Die Hard. At the start of the movie, you might think that, oh, it's an action-packed movie where terrorists have taken over. But truly, it's not. It's about a guy who is struggling in his marriage. And by the end of it, he finally finds some sort of solace in his marriage. You see, in the start, he has a conversation with the driver and he says that, where are you going? And he says, I'm going to meet my wife. Oh, you don't live together? He says, no. What happened? He says that he had the girl decided to pick job over him and there has been complications, stuff like that. And towards the end, he lets go of the badge of the police officer and he moves in with his wife. That's the elephant. So elephant changed the color, and in between there is an arc. So there's definitely a transformation. That's the transformation.
Have you guys played the new God of War?
Yes. Oh my God, beautiful.
What do you think that is a story about? Is it a story about a warrior or is it a story about fatherhood?
Yeah, it's definitely a story about fatherhood.
Right?
Lovely,
it's a story about being a son as well.
Yeah.
Right? So you buy the God of War game because you are promised in the trailer, maar dhaad hogi, dobara se Kratos aa raha hai, right? And then in the end, because the gamers realized we need to animate Kratos, make him a real, relatable human being, let's give him a son, it becomes a story, right? Yeah. And so तुम कितने भी battles लड़ लो, कितने भी bosses आए, सब secondary.
Yeah.
एक subtle plot चल रहा है, बाप बेटी का रिश्ता, जो end में जाके force हो जाता है because they have to do the symbolic act of, spreading their mother's and his wife's ashes. So that thing then is transformation from माँ की डेथ हुई है, वाइफ की डेथ हुई है, बाप और बेटे हैं साथ में लेकिन दूर दूर है, फिर वो पूरे रास्ते साथ जाएंगे, ट्रायल्स एंड ट्रिबुलेशंस, फ्रेंड्स एंड एनिमीज को ओवरकम करेंगे until they reach the climax where they are tested. Now if they succeed, they will remember each other as allies and as bond for life. ठीक है, उनकी मेमोरी बन जाएगी. When they go spread the ashes, the transformation has happened. जो लोग घर से निकले थे वो सेम लोग नहीं है. जो वाजपेयी या फिर राव, ठीक है, मैं तेरा रियल नेम यूज नहीं करूंगा, जिसने स्टार्ट करा था YouTube पे और जो अब है, they're not the same people, right?
Right.
What has happened is you've seen your story play out and you've transformed.
Right.
That is what a story is. It is everywhere. Anyone who refuses to pay attention to it does it at the cost of their own peril. Who then sees the world as ये खाली information है, facts है.
Yeah.
There's this movie. Have you watched Tamasha?
Yeah. Oh, beautiful movie. Lovely.
Tamasha mein, like you hate it?
Yeah, one of my romantic partners made me watch it, and it's too much fluff. I get the part कि जहाँ पे वो character play करता है. I want to cut from the कैरेक्टर प्ले करा हम लोगों ने इस कंट्री में डायरेक्टली टू द सोशल सीन्स, उसके बीच में इतने सारे गाने और ला 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 ये सब चलता रहता है, इट्स अ बिट यू नो इट्स अ बिट टू मच एनीवे.
हाँ, तो उसमें एक्चुअली मुझे I actually loved the movie. उसमें मुझे one of the things which I found really interesting was it shows first hand. I've watched a few times. First hand, it shows that it's a kind of a love story, but it is not really a love story. It's a story about this just one person. It's just about Dev, the guy, the main guy in the movie, who's played by Ranbir Kapoor. It's just about him. There is no everybody else is a side character.
She's just a
She's
friend
just
in
a
the journey.
facilitator. She's just a facilitator. That's it. And the movie is there is a starting dialogue in the movie where like there is this guy who is stuck somewhere between दिल और दिमाग के बीच में कहीं फंस गया है, ठीक है? So that's the idea. He's not like chasing love.
Yeah.
For that matter.
Right.
He's basically stuck somewhere in between what is fed in his head by society and what his heart wants from day one. And it was never like the girl, like you said, she's just the facilitator in the movie. And that entire movie also follows the same plot of how he starts, how he has grown up, what were the things those songs actually, pata hai? Those songs just showcase what his childhood was, because they never actually show them in the actual plot line में कभी दिखाते
they
नहीं.
do ना, जहाँ पे वो पीयूष मिश्रा से जाके बात कर रहा होता है, पीयूष मिश्रा से, और मतलब उसके पास जाके
स्कूल वगैरह में
सुनता है, स्कूल भी दिखाया है, बाप भी दिखाया है उसका, ऐसी बात
yes,
नहीं.
but that just shows that he goes to Piyush Mishra and listens very intently to these stories this guy says, right? But then the songs are the ones which show what did he behave like as a child after he listened to those stories. How did he behave in the class?
Okay. Interesting.
And वो pieces में होता है ऐसे. I think what I understand, it's one song which goes on off and on through the movie, and end में जाके all the pieces of the song join कि अच्छा ये हुआ था. They don't show it at the start of the movie or through the middle of the movie, but end में they show कि actually in college he was really frustrated. They never show that throughout the movie that कि ये बंदा frustrated था at all. Those parts which are never revealed through the movie, they are shown at the very end when the movie is over.
Yeah, in storytelling this is called a red herring. एक तरह की bird होती है. हाँ. और red ये एक storytelling का device होता है कि जहाँ पे ना what you do is you introduce these distracting elements that are supposed to take you away from the story. तो for example एक movie के अंदर एक mini scene है जहाँ पे मैं और तू बैठ के बोल रहे हैं कि bro देख यहाँ दारू कितनी महंगी मिलती है, या देख ये है वो, right? And that scene के अंदर एक बहुत subtle सा hint आएगा कि कुछ हुआ है main story में, but 99% of the time तुम्हारी naked eye उसे capture नहीं करेगी. That's a red herring. So like this also, the songs and everything else that you miss on the surface are red herrings. They distract you from the main story, deviate you, और बाद में जाके तो बोलता है oh fuck मैंने realize ही नहीं करा ये भी चल रहा था.
Right. और ये जो तो device बोल रहा है, I can't remember who said this, but plays में there is a saying which goes कि if there is whatever composition the play has, if let's say there is an object in the play, which has nothing to do, which has no purpose to serve in the upcoming 2 or 3 scenes of the play, that it should not exist at all in the first scene.
Chekhov, he said ना कि
Anton Chekhov,
अगर तुम्हारे पास एक गन है फर्स्ट सीन के अंदर, थर्ड सीन तक वो फायर हो जानी चाहिए. राइट. सो इट्स अ सिंपल जो स्टोरी टेलिंग के अंदर लॉजिक होता है कि मैंने जितने भी प्लॉट पॉइंट्स ओपन करे मैंने क्लोज करूं. कॉमेडियंस भी यही करते हैं, ठीक है, जब वो कॉल बैक ह्यूमर करते हैं. मैंने एक जोक शुरू करा था सेट के स्टार्टिंग के अंदर, बहुत पहले शुरू करा था, सेट के अंदर मैं प्लीज उसे खत्म करूं, ठीक है, ताकि जो मेरी एग्जिस्टिंग टेंशन थी मेरे अंदर एज एन ऑडियंस, जो मेरे को पता भी नहीं थी, वो भी रिजॉल्व हो जाए, ठीक है. और ये है कि मैं बंधन खोल रहा हूँ, बंधन बना रहा हूँ, बंधन खोल रहा हूँ, बंधन बना रहा हूँ. As simple as that.
Yeah. Dave Chappelle is a master at callback.
Yeah. The beauty of it is like if you just do this enough, you have a master performance by just following the rules.
And if you do not, do you know examples? Do you have any examples of where? They don't
for sure.
open it up completely.
So there is this guy called Darren Aronofsky. उसने एक पिक्चर बनाई थी Q. I'm forgetting. Pi. It's about a mathematician who goes insane because he has numbers in his head that he can't get out. The resolution is not what you expect. The resolution is not a resolution at all. ठीक है? Then I think at least visually, and Ocus will agree because he's an editor, Quentin Tarantino की पिक्चरें जो होती हैं, They all have non-linear plots. It's never like कि मैं उमा थर्मन हूँ किल बिल के अंदर, तो मेरे से कहानी शुरू हुई है और मेरे पे ही खत्म होगी. कहानी के अंदर सडनली चैप्टर 6 आएगा, फिर चैप्टर 38 आ जाएगा, फिर चैप्टर 7 आएगा, फिर चैप्टर 42 आ जाएगा, फिर फाइनल चैप्टर के अंदर सारे चैप्टर्स बन जाएंगे,
कोलाइड हो जाएंगे.
हाँ. तो they use a lot of non-linear storytelling to also break this pattern that you and I are talking about, Raf.
Yeah. Yeah, Tenet being one of the great
I haven't
examples.
watched
You're
Tenet.
like towards the like beach में like 70% of the
This
movie
one, this one, the movie Memento. You've got Memento.
moment,
Right?
yeah.
Memento is like that. So this one is very weird. So the cycle of Memento goes something like this. The plot line is it starts here, and he follows this cycle in the movie.
You.
Temporally ऐसी है, ऐसी flow of time. The scenes start from here, they go here, they go back, and they finish somewhere here. But ये भी चीजें कुछ हुई हैं. समझ रहा है?
I see.
Memento is like that.
Yeah.
So those are all deviations from the norm. मतलब for beginner storytellers, अगर कोई start कर रहे होंगे ना, to go there and to give rest to your audience, huge thing. But as beginners, the first thing a short filmmaker or a standard video guy or even a short story novelist will try to tell you is कि यार मैंने अगर मैं एक बार white board खोल के दिखाऊं मैं क्या कहने की कोशिश कर रहा हूँ, रुक. Are you guys gonna do video as well? So let me just show this.
Right.
This is what it looks like. This is a standard story, right? ठीक है. It starts here at the exposition. Let's call it the exposition. This is the opening scene. ठीक है. This thing right here signifies rising action. Rising action के अंदर basically क्या मैं बता देता हूँ, एक बार लिख रहा हूँ सिर्फ, ठीक है. एक सेकंड, let me just this right here is the climax point. ठीक है. This is once again let me just make an arrow quickly. This is falling action. And this is epilogue और end. Okay. ये एक स्टोरी का स्ट्रक्चर है जो दुनिया भर के अंदर इस्तेमाल होता है. The way it works is as simple as आप क्या करते हो, आपका एक प्रोटैगनिस्ट है. मेरे को ओकस ने पॉडकास्ट के नोट्स के अंदर ये बताया था that Rav, you're a big Harry Potter fan. Right? So let's take the example of Harry Potter.
Right.
Who is Harry Potter? Harry Potter is this unknown guy with magical powers.
Right.
Living in the basement of the Dursleys, correct?
Right.
Cupboard सी में रहता है वो, है ना?
Right.
This is the opening scene of Harry Potter की चुदरी है, ठीक है? Now, the thing that I'm not going to mention in this diagram is he's a reluctant hero. जब पहली बार Hagrid वो संदेश लेके आता है तो वो मना कर देता है, right? He's a bit hesitant कि मैं ये कर भी पाऊंगा या नहीं.
And there is a full background of it also. Why he always thought that, because he was raised as he always thought that he was a very उसके parents है नहीं, उसके parents accident में मर गए, and he is living with his uncle and aunt, and that is his life. He had a few incidents in his life where in his 11 years where people thought that he was abnormal, and I think the way Harry perceived it was कि यार ये क्यों हो रहा है मेरे साथ, like not accepting of it. He never felt like I'm a special
very
guy.
important word, not accepting of it. Not accepting of it could mean your potential, your gifts, your fate. कुछ भी हो सकता है, ठीक है?
Right.
So initially what the hero does in every hero's journey, in every story, अगर हम story के अंदर hero's journey की बात करते हैं, transformation की बात करते हैं, is the hero tries to resist जो उसके लिए आ रहा है, ठीक है? They always deny it. Die Hard के अंदर, सनी देओल के पिक्चर अपने के अंदर हर जगह पहले हीरो मना करता है, ठीक है? Inevitably मना करेगा कि नहीं यार, नहीं मेरे से नहीं हो सकता, ठीक है?
Lord of the
Then
Rings.
some kind of a guide or a mentor figure comes again, persists कि सुन लूक स्काईवॉकर कि तेरी ये डेस्टिनी तुझे करना पड़ेगा, नहीं तो ये हो जाएगा, right? So then the hero sets on the adventure of their life. What is the adventure of their life? Their adventure is they go leave their home, एक नई जगह पे आते हैं. They're a beginner, a newbie, a new kid in town. कोई उसे नहीं जानता. Again, Harry Potter, right?
Right.
वहां पे Harry Potter, with this gift that he's a hero, on the inside he knows he's a hero. He will meet friends and enemies. और सामने क्या आएंगे? Obstacles. तो friends की सहायता लेके वो ऑब्स्टिकल्स को पार करेगा, एनिमीज को डिफीट करके वो ऑब्स्टिकल्स को पार करेगा. व्हाट इज दिस राइजिंग एक्शन? राइजिंग एक्शन इज बेसिकली जैसे जैसे ये इवेंट्स हो रहे हैं और वैसे वैसे हैरी और उसके दोस्तों से पार कर रहे हैं, स्टोरी का आर्क आगे बढ़ रहा है. द एक्शन इज राइजिंग. इट्स लाइक पिक्चरों के अंदर इंटरवल क्लाइमैक्स के पास ही होता है यूजुअली, और उसके बाद चीजें सॉल्व होनी शुरू हो जाती हैं, राइट? द स्टोरी इज ऑलवेज इंटरवल एट क्लाइमैक्स. सो ही मीट्स ऑब्स्टिकल्स, छोटे से ऑगर को डिफीट करता है, बड़े से मॉन्स्टर को डिफीट करता है, क्विडिच में जीतता है, ये करता है, वो करता है, प्यार में आता है, देन सडनली क्लाइमैक्स, what does he encounter? He encounters Lord Voldemort himself. Right? यहाँ पे हीरो ने जो अभी तक सीखा है is put to test. जो भी मैंने लेसन, जो मेरी अभी आधी ट्रांसफॉर्मेशन हुई है जब मैं घर से एक लड़का आया था और अब तक, is that enough to help me beat this guy, beat this boss, beat the ultimate dragon as Jordan Peterson says? Or do I fail? If he fails, it's not the climax yet. If he passes, he has defeated the biggest monster he could find. And now what happens is, यहाँ पे जितने भी अड़चने होनी शुरू हुई थी राइजिंग एक्शन के अंदर, क्लाइमैक्स के बाद वो धीरे धीरे सॉल्व होने शुरू हो जाती हैं. ठीक है, राइट? तो मतलब एक प्लॉट पॉइंट ठीक होता है, दूसरा प्लॉट पॉइंट ठीक होता है, पता लगता है कि हैरी को प्यार भी हो गया, वो घर भी जा सकता है, सब कुछ अच्छा होना शुरू हो जाता है, whatever, right? In the end, in the epilogue, you see a clear line of transformation. इस ट्रांसफॉर्मेशन को करने के लिए आदमी को इस पिरामिड के थ्रू जाना पड़ा. बट ही वेंट फ्रॉम दिस नाइव बॉय जो एक एक अंकल्स के स्टेयरकेस के नीचे रह रहा है, टू द हीरो ऑफ हॉगवर्ट्स. हाउ डिड दैट हैपन? ये है उसका स्ट्रक्चर. दिस इज द हीरोज जर्नी.
Can I draw?
No matter how many storytelling devices you use,
right?
If you just show transformation like this, जहाँ पे क्लाइमैक्टिक पॉइंट आता है, अक्सर व्लॉग्स के अंदर भी देखो कि एक मेजर ऑब्स्टिकल आ जाता है कि ट्रेन छूट गई, फक यार अब क्या करेंगे, राइट? जो भी कुछ है, and then they find a solution. That's what it is. It's always a hero's journey.
जैसे तूने एक्सप्लेन किया ना एक्सपोजिशन से क्लाइमैक्स के लिए, because Harry Potter is not just a single movie, right? It's a story over
I'm explaining the first one,
right? But if you look at the entire plot, if you look at
that
the
is
entire
also,
storyline, I think it goes something. Can you see me draw?
No.
So let me just stop the sharing. I can see your draw. Yes.
Okay. So this is how it actually goes. If you look at this 7 plot, this is exactly how it goes. समझ रहे?
It's just one line.
Yeah, it's paused. Oh yeah. Okay.
Yes.
Okay.
So that's the narrative hero's journey. Again, still the same thing.
Still the same thing. Like you said, ki every time you reach the climax, some things get resolved. So every single peak is basically some form of a resolution. First year mein he figures out कि अच्छा ये हुआ था. Second years में a bigger plot is being solved here. Okay, जैसे Horcrux का जो problem था, that gets solved over here.
Right.
The biggest actually plot point is what are the 7 Horcruxes which tries to take place in the 6th book when Horcruxes are introduced.
So that's the story beneath the story.
Right.
Yeah.
That's the story like a Harry Potter fan, like you can know intuitively after reading books, right?
Right.
कोई भी साधारण बंदा जो सिर्फ पहली पिक्चर देख रहा है उसको यही वाला सिंपल पिरामिड समझ में आएगा. But if you contextualize, even that's true for Game of Thrones. By the way, it would be very interesting to see who's the main character of Game of Thrones. There's been a lot of speculation, but they say it's roughly Tyrion, right? And I'm not too sure कि क्या उसका आंसर है, but Game of Thrones is probably the only series that sort of breaks this structure because so many people you see
so many different plot lines are there, right?
उसके अंदर red herrings बहुत सारे हैं. तुम imagine करते हो Ned Stark तुम्हारा हीरो है फर्स्ट सीजन के अंदर, अगर याद करो भाई Ned Stark ही है, सब कुछ है, he's the gets killed, spoiler alert, gets killed. Who is the eventual hero?
Yeah, there are so many changes in it. Like you also see Tywin Lannister's perspective.
Right.
You see Jaime's perspective. There is a period, I think it's in the second one, where there is struggle for Jaime. A significant amount of struggle.
बंद कर दे, share बंद कर दे बात हुए.
हाँ, बंद कर दे.
Yeah.
There's a significant amount of struggle for Jaime Lannister, who in the previous season you thought, what a fucking cunt, he just dropped a kid off because he dropped Bran off a tower, right? But through the movie, your emotions and your what do you call it? तुम्हारी perspective जो है for that particular character, it changes completely. You hate this person at one season, and you turn to have a liking for that person in another season.
Yeah, right.
Because you see a certain level of their own journey.
Yeah,
right.
Yeah. So, so I'll start by you guys. Have none of you watch anime, right?
No.
Yeah, so you need to watch this anime called Naruto. It's shonen, so it's
I know Naruto. Huh?
I know Naruto.
yeah.
as well.
So it started off like initially वो बच्चों के लिए ही है, so you will find a lot of kid stuff, but it uses like जिसने मैंने तुम्हें बोला, it breaks this cycle as well. That's why it's one of the biggest animes. Like it's beautiful. It's beautiful.
So? How does it break the cycle? It's not like standard
so
hero's journey.
no, yeah. So it's much like Game of Thrones. Actually, you'll start seeing everything. So you'll be rooting for the villain while you're rooting for the hero as well. You'll be like, yo, what? Who the fuck do I support?
Just to add something quickly there, तो उसके अंदर क्या होता है ना? This is modern storytelling at its best, where you're able to find moments of heroism even in the villain.
Yeah.
Mini सी hero journey दिखा देंगे, ठीक है?
Yeah.
Even who's the cunt character everyone hates? Starks के अंदर यार वो कौन होता है? जो evil बेटा होता है नॉर्थ का, जो कुछ समय के लिए रूल करता है राव उस पे किंगडम पे.
अरे Reek, his nickname became Reek.
Not Reek.
You're talking about the guy who was kidnapped by Ned, was taken away by Ned Stark from Iron Islands, right?
नहीं, not that guy.
What are you talking about?
जो एक और नॉर्थ की किंगडम का छोटे से राज्य का बेटा होता है हरामी. He is a bastard though. In the Battle of the Bastards, it's Jon Snow versus that guy.
Ramsay Bolton.
Ramsay Bolton.
हाँ.
So even Ramsay Bolton, no matter how sinister he is, has a story arc going for him, right? It's transformation from naive, पापा मैं आपका बेटा हूँ, to पापा मैंने आपको मार दिया क्योंकि मेरे को किंगडम पे राज करना है.
Right? Yeah.
Anyway, Ocus, please go on.
Yeah, so in Naruto, it's like there are multiple stories, but one of my favorite one is of Itachi. Okay, so Itachi is our elder brother of our दो protagonist है. तो दूसरा protagonist जो थोड़ा सा dark है, सास्के का बड़ा भाई. ठीक है, सास्के का पूरी family, पूरा clan, पूरी जात has been murdered, massacred in one night by his elder brother Itachi. Itachi was called the prodigy. He was basically like Voldemort. Voldemort की जो story है ना, Voldemort, when Tom Riddle came out of Hogwarts and everybody was rooting for him, he's gonna become the youngest minister of magic. Because he was a brilliant student, right? He was brilliant at school. He was a brilliant magician. Wizard, right? And then he just completely turned and became a dark wizard. Not exactly dark wizard, started working with dark arts a lot. And we were like, what a waste. So Itachi murders everybody, right? And he just leaves Sasuke, his youngest brother. And before this point, Itachi was the best brother you could ever have, the best son you could ever have, right? And he murders the entire clan. And he just leaves his young brother, and he tells the young brother, if you want to ever take the revenge, feel this hatred that you have against me, and let it just increase. Let that hatred of fire burn in you and become strong and come to kill me. And then he later on joins this the terrorist group, the biggest terrorist group called the Akatsuki, blah 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 blah, at the age of 13, by the way. Okay, he's super young. And finally, after like 300-400 episodes, Sasuke finally kills Itachi. And when he kills Itachi, Sasuke just before sorry, I don't think you're gonna watch it, and it's 2000 mein aaya tha, so please. Okay. So just before Itachi, Itachi dying, Itachi just takes off the curse mark. Sasuke had a curse mark, and just before like dying, Itachi like Sasuke thinks he's gonna kill him. Like Itachi's gonna kill him. Sasuke, and he comes like this, and he just does this. That's his like little secret handshake, and he dies. And later on, you realize that Itachi was the good guy all along. And you learn the truth behind Itachi, why he murdered his clan and why he took all of this shoulders and everything. And then Sasuke realizes that
this
he
is
just
like Professor Snape.
Professor Snape, exactly. That's what I was thinking.
Yeah. So it's great. But I want to talk about a tad bit about the science and how you they start showing the journey of these evil people as well. I was reading this book called The Science of Storytelling by Will Storr. Okay? So he talks about why we start the concept of heroes and villain in itself. And he talks about where it came from. And it came from all the way from the tribes that we were living in, right? And Naruto does a great job of establishing this underlying kind of moral that everyone is flawed, including you and me. So, you start seeing people as humans. So in tribal sense, right, Will Storr talks about like we have this sense of justice where somebody who's selfless, right, who's working for the greater good of the tribe, is the champion. And the moment you're selfish, you will be looked down upon, and you'll be ostracized. That's why when we see villains acting upon their selfish desires, you have this innate feeling of ostracizing them, disliking them, and getting them out of this, whatever the group is. Whereas a hero who's selfish, who's fighting for the friends, I will save my friends, you start rooting for them. That's because since you were in tribes and you lived in tribes for hundreds of thousands of years, that's where it truly came from.
थोड़ा सा इसमें disagreement ये है. I'm going to use two examples. Number one, remember Bahubali याद है?
Yeah.
Right, how he goes away from his village to go fight, right?
Yeah.
Many see it as a selfish act. Many see it as like this thing where he's like, हाँ मुझे पता था ये जाएगा, right? Number one.
Right.
Number two, have you ever played Assassin's Creed 3?
Yeah, big Assassin's Creed fan.
है ना, with Connor, the Native American child, right?
Yeah.
कई सारे लोग बोलते हैं गांव छोड़ के मत जा.
Yeah, and so
right?
Yeah.
And he goes away for years, lives in Boston, New York, a bunch of the other places, right?
Yeah.
Infiltrating the independence movement in the USA, ये सब पूरा होता है, right? So in a way, that is very selfish, because वो अपनी hero's journey पे it is not in sync with the tribe values. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like the tribe values be like, तुम यहाँ पे रहो, यहाँ जो है वो बचाओ.
Yeah.
So that is where the villainy part gets a bit contested. Like who really is a villain?
Yeah.
मैंने खुद एनिमे से देखी. मैंने आज तक एक ही एनिमे देखा है, One Punch Man. I will never forget it. I remember watching One Punch Man in Boston with a big anime fan. He was a big Diorama fan also, by the way. वो Godzilla वगैरह के वो लगाता था साथ में.
Man of culture.
थे. And One Punch Man के अंदर different heroes होते हैं, right?
Yeah.
Different ranking के. Class S, Class A hero, Class 1. I don't know क्या बहुत सारे वो होते हैं.
Yeah.
और उन सब हीरोज की जब लड़ाई का वक्त आता है, तुम उनका पूरा मोनोलॉग सुनते हो, which I think is stereotypical of all Japanese anime, I guess. I'm not sure.
Yeah.
When you hear that monologue, you see all the quote unquote grayness of their character.
Yeah.
कि हाँ, मैं लोगों के सामने तो क्लास एस सुपर हीरो हूँ, लेकिन मैं अंदर से गांडू और मेरी फट रही है, मैं क्या करूँ, right? It's been a while, but I don't think I saw that level of moral ambiguity in Indian characters. But मैंने वो Japanese में देखी as an adult. I was like, this is crazy. So in a way, all of these guys are living out a story. कोई एक ऐसा बंदा है who's sick of the fame, who knows वो अंदर से कमजोर है. कोई एक ऐसा बंदा है जो नाक में उंगली डालता है हमारे protagonist की तरह, लेकिन बहुत ताकतवर है. So it's really hard to see at that point who's the hero and the villain.
Yeah.
And it becomes like a complex, intermeshing of many different heroes' journeys.
Yeah, it's the anime does it like extremely well. कि वो start to end they will have these multiple, like एक ये अपनी timeline है and there is multiple timeline, like एक centipede के पैर जैसे.
Exactly.
So at the end of the day everything will combine. You'll be like, oh, this is the terrorist group that attacked that first time.
Right.
Oh, that makes so much sense. But it's beautiful. Just before we end, right? Just before we wrap up, there's something that I really wanted everyone to hear, which is something that I learned from Will Storr as well, the book, everything. That what is truly a story, and as you said, it's transformation, it's change, right? But why are we attracted to change? What is it in transformation that just clicks with our evolutionary grayish pinkish bulb that is up here, right? So and if you have read the Sapiens, you would know this too as well. Like it's evolutionary, right? So over the period of time, change, when we were like hunter and gatherers, change was like, it was scary. Okay, you're walking, right? And jhadiyon mein kuch to hilta hai. There's a tiger. Oh my god. So change bad. Look out for change. But you're walking. झाड़ियों में कुछ हिलता है. It's a rabbit. खाना मिल गया. So over the period of time, change brought opportunities, but change also, it also brought risks. So change became a very core pillar of survival. The moment you notice change, you might survive. So we became curious for change. We were always looking out for change, right? When you learn about the psychology, the neuroscience and like literal biology of our face, every inch of our face is dedicated to detect some kind of change. And Will Storr talks about like the moment you're walking on a road and something happens. There's a boom. Somebody has screamed your name, Sheesh, without even realizing. Your eyes will turn, your head will turn, and you'll be facing that way. You're you're constantly detecting change without even knowing for it. Every हर एक sound is बंद हो चुका है, तुम्हें कुछ नहीं सुनाई दे रहा है because your brain has the capacity to do it. But the moment somebody you're constantly detecting, he says it, you weren't even listening to that sound. He says it and you turn your head. So that's beautiful. So if you really want to go down that route,
and stories to
you know what sorry to cut you off, Raf. Have you guys ever gambled for money at all?
Yeah.
What are you betting on?
The win.
You're betting on change, bro. You're betting, you're hoping that मेरे पास जो पैसे हैं double हो जाए, triple हो जाए, right? So when we as human beings write the story of our lives, Ralph, if you know about Jordan Peterson's future authoring program, what it is roughly saying कि there is this star in the hemisphere that I will point to and say कि मेरे को यहाँ जाना है, right? मैं अभी इधर बैठा हूँ, यहाँ पे बैठा हूँ. I want to get there, right? So I'm promising myself, I'm betting on this future where change will happen, where transformation will happen. And that's why we're attracted to it. Because no matter the most static person, give them something to strive toward, and I promise you, the most lazy motherfucker, motivated the right way towards something positive, will move in that direction. Okay? Which is why people, when they struggle with establishing their life goals, they go through disciplinary periods जिनके लिए जहाँ पे उनके goals choose हो जाते हैं, जैसे कि military, right? So if you're aimless in life, people go to military. Like तुम्हारा फंडा ये है कि तुम एक कौन सी पिक्चर थी वो लक्ष्य, right? तुम एक ऐसी लफंडर, मुझे पता नहीं अंकल मुझे क्या करना है, मैं तो अभी लफंडर हूँ, wake up sit, right?
Gangs of Wasseypur. Gangs of Wasseypur.
Gangs of Wasseypur also, right? You have Nawazuddin Siddiqui as this careless ganja addict until he is forced to change and man up for his family because half of his family dies, right? So in a way, his change was reluctant. He didn't want it, but it is inevitable. वो होगा, चाहे ट्रेजेडी तुम्हें वहां लेके जाएगी या तुम खुद स्मार्ट होके बैठ के बोल सकते हो कि सुनो यार, where I am is not enough. I would like to change. I would like to point to a star in the hemisphere and say, that is where I want to be. And that's how you start. That's where your journey starts. You can look back at a life at 70 and say, bro, what a life I've lived. That is my hero's journey. You can then go on like Bill Gates and say, bro, मैंने पहले Microsoft कमाया, मैंने ये करा, मैंने वो करा. That is my journey. And to get there and to say that is to say that you successfully transformed into the person you thought you would be.
All
that
of these
story.
ये पता है, all of them have some that in common, like you said, change in common. Most of these tech startups, उनके तुम अगर स्टोरी सुनोगे कि कैसे स्टार्ट हुए थे, you will initially feel कि तो मैं कर सकता हूँ, ये मैं कर सकता था. I could have been the person there. I could have been that person there. Any average nerdy kid, average kid studying computer science from a college in India would feel कि यार ये तो मैं भी कर सकता था उस टाइम पे. But I just didn't move my ass up and just
sure, or you not whatever it is, you recognize it. It happens in different parts of your life. It happens sometimes as simple as कि 15 सेकंड है, सामने पिल्ला है, बचाओ या ना बचाओ, गाड़ी के सामने आने वाला है, right? It's a very microsecond of what happens. And then a macrosecond, I see that in 10-15 years my family's health will get so bad that they will start to have dementia or die. Can I see the start of this hero's journey, or I'm gonna put a blind eye to it?
Probably the latter.
है ना? There are always journeys waiting for you. It's just a matter of कि तुम्हें किस शिप पे चढ़ना है और कितनी शिप्स पे चढ़ सकते हो. जितनी शिप्स पे चढ़ोगे, जितनी वर्थवाइल शिप्स पे चढ़ोगे, उतने ज्यादा तुम्हारी जिंदगी एडवेंचर बनेगी. कहानियां होंगी बताने के लिए कि मैंने ये करा, फिर ये करा, फिर वो करा. It's like your soul has been through so many ups and downs that you now know you are wise, right? That is the result of a hero's journey. Wisdom, है ना? वो सेम लड़का है ही नहीं जो 17-18 साल का था. अब ये लड़का है, अब ये आदमी है, इसने ये सीख लिया है. Right? The journey from boy to man is hero's journey. The journey from man to old man who's wise is hero's journey. ये सब की सब journeys है, ये सब की सब stories है. It's just a matter of when you feel like यार, I'm at the end of the tunnel, I see no hope. Can you use existing stories like Shirsh pointed out, can you use Naruto, any mythological story, any other stories to gain that hope कि अच्छा इसके अंदर भी यही हो रहा है. एक साधारण जैसे like let's take Ram for example. Ram is his prince. Sure, we know he's born like a special prince, right? And has divine powers. Uski journey में obstacle क्या है bro? His wife is taken away from him. He's lost his kingdom.
Even before his wife was taken away from him, all his titles, everything was taken away from him.
हाँ, his kingdom is lost. He's lost his wife. तो अब इतने बड़े obstacles हैं, बीवी को भी वापस जीतना है, सीता मैया को वापस जीतना है, और साथ में he has to, like fulfill the archetype of the hero कि मैं hero हूँ, मैंने ये करा है. राम जंगल में रहता था कि नहीं यार ब्रो मैं तो हिप्पी बनूंगा, मेरे से नहीं हो रहा. Like ठीक है, you know what I mean? But that's why you remember him.
शिव जी का प्रसाद.
Exactly, bro. Because he completed the journey, and that's why he's considered a god.
Yeah.
Well, not all gods are born gods. Some gods are men who become gods, and that is what a hero's journey is to eventually become a god in your own right. Right? Is to fulfill whatever hero's journey is right in front of you, even if it seems like torture or nightmares. Right? I'm not making a case for being pressurized to do something you don't want to do, but there is no problem with having extra responsibilities, because in the long run you can be like, bro, my self-esteem is like this right now, and my journey is complete right now because I did that. I'm no longer the same kid. I'm changed.
Yeah, for sure. Every one of us can relate to that. But yeah, man, this has been great.
But that is basically the definition of, I think, regret in some sense. The absence of that change in your life.
हाँ ना, क्योंकि तुम बोलोगे यार
I didn't take that.
बोलता हूँ कुछ बढ़िया कर ले, मैंने कुछ करा नहीं, मैं तो इसी शहर के अंदर 37 साल रहा, घिसाई, हर रोज मूंगफलियां खाई. You know what I mean? It's this like, you always had the call to adventure, you never took it.
You remember that one movie, Matt Damon and Ben Affleck, where Matt Damon is a genius, mathematics,
accountant.
Robin Williams.
Robin Williams has it.
Good Will Hunting.
Good Will Hunting mein, so there is this conversation that these two friends have, okay, outside this construction space, and Ben tells him so he has this opportunity to go to a different city, right?
उसे बोलता है तू बहुत स्मार्ट है, हम ले लेते इसको,
हम होते और हम ले लेते इसको, और तू अगर नहीं गया तो मैं तुझे मार दूंगा एक दिन यहीं पे कहीं पे, एक very seriously मैं तुझे मार दूंगा यहीं पे.
That is what good friends and family do. They tell you तुम्हारा ये potential है, नहीं तुम्हारा ये potential है, तुम potential के नीचे perform कर रहे हो, ज्यादा करोगे या तुम अलग हो जाएंगे, हम तुम्हें मारेंगे, क्योंकि अच्छी बात नहीं है, हमें पता तुम इसके लायक हो और तुम ये नहीं कर रहे हो जो तुम्हें करना चाहिए.
It's crazy. But yeah, this has been a great podcast. The tangents have been insane. Yeah. कहाँ से कहाँ शुरू हो गए? This is everyone of
how Brian will arrange this, man. Anyways,
Brian is not arranging it. It's me who's arranging it.
You are arranging this one?
Yeah, exam चालू है उसके.
Okay.
Yeah. He goes to university here in India.
He's attending US में, but he'll be busy preparing for it for a while.
Okay, cool.
But yeah, damn. एक second.
This is great,
Let me do the intro for the podcast. Okay.